So welcome back, student, to our channel, the BIO-NECTAR Education Foundation. So today's our topic is about the mitochondria. So the mitochondria is the cell organism. When we talk about the mitochondria, so mitochondria is a kind of a prokaryotic organ. It is behave like a prokaryotic. For what I'm saying, it is a behave like a prokaryotic cell organism because the mitochondria have some kind of a history. As we study about the ninth in the 10th class, as we study about the mitochondria is a powerhouse of a cell, as we know that. Then how it can behave like a powerhouse of a cell and how can it produce the power for the cells? Let's we talk about some history of the mitochondria. As according to the endosymbiotic theory, this theory suggests that the mitochondria originate from the free-living prokaryotic cell. As we as we talk about the earlier, the mitochondria is a behave like a prokaryotic cell. So according to the endosymbiotic theory, the mitochondria is originate from a free-living prokaryotic cell, specifically aerobic bacteria. The aerobic bacteria are those bacteria which can respire in the presence of oxygen that were engulfed by the ancestral eukaryotic cells. When the eukaryotic cell is engulfed means is completely taken over. You you also have seen some amoeba-like structures. The amoeba how to take their foods. So on the same way, the eukaryotic cell engulf the prokaryotic cell over the time, and the symbiotic relationship develop, and the engulfed bacteria evolved into a modern mitochondria. Symbiotic relationship symbiotic relationship means that there is a mutual relationship. The prokaryotic cell, for example, like mitochondria, provide the eukaryotic cell energy in the form of ATP, and the eukaryotic cell provides the cytoplasm and the conditions to grow the prokaryotic cell. So this is called a symbiotic relationship. Thus, there are certain supporting evidence. The prokaryotic cell, the mitochondria, is behave like a prokaryotic cell, supporting evidence like a double membrane, circular DNA, 70S ribosomes, replication by binary fission. Binary fission, that's like a amoeba. Amoeba, just like a amoeba, it can divide itself into a two halves. The mitochondrial DNA is inherited from the mother. When we talk about the reproduction, when the ovum is fertilized with the sperm, then both the cells are fused together and the male head portion, only the acrosome portion, inserted in the egg, and all the rest of the part of the sperm is degenerated. So that's why we call it the mitochondrial DNA is inherited only from the mother because the egg is from the mother. So next, the mitochondria, the power of a cell. The mitochondria are a double membranous structure organelles, as I tell you, found in the cytoplasm of almost all the eukaryotic cell. Every eukaryotic cell have a mitochondria at least for their functioning. They are often referred to as the powerhouse of a cell because their primary function to generate the adenosine triphosphate, the energy currency of the cell, through the process of aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, as I tell you, the respiration in the presence of oxygen, and in the presence of oxygen, the mitochondria produce the ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It is the energy currency of a cell. Structure of a mitochondria, when we talk about the structure of a mitochondria, as you can see in the figure, the mitochondria is a double membrane structure, the outer membrane containing some porins like structure, and it is permeable to small molecules like ions, contains protein shell called porins, and the inner membrane having the inside foldings, which produce the cristae. Cristae is like a bank. This is called the cristae. Crystal contain enzyme and proteins for the electron transport chain and ATP synthesis. Intermembranous space, intermembranous space, the space between the inner membrane and the outer membrane, play a role in the oxidative phosphorylation. The next part is the matrix. The portion inside the internal membrane, the inner membrane, it's filled with the fluid. That fluid is called the mitochondrial matrix. These matrix contain the enzyme for the Krebs cycle, mitochondrial DNA, and the ribosomal machinery. When we talk about the functions of a mitochondria, the not only function of a mitochondria is producing the ATP. Rather than the ATP, it's also a heat production. In the brown fat cells, our body has a brown fat cells. Mitochondria help to generate a body heat. When when our body in the excess amount of ATP is present, then the energy is to be conserved in the form of heat. That heat is stored in the brown fat cells in our body. Mitochondria also helps in the apoptosis. Apoptosis is a programmed cell death. Means when our body doesn't need the extra cells in our body, then our body degrade them. So that's why it is a programmed cell death. It is essential for the growth and the immunity. Means that the apoptosis process is very essential for the growth and the immunity. Calcium storage. The mitochondria also helps in the maintaining the calcium ion concentration in the cells. Metabolic role, for example, synthesis of amino acid, steroids, and the fatty acid also synthesized in the mitochondria. The several kind of a mitochondrial disorders are also associated with the mitochondria, like a mitochondrial myopathy and the Lynch syndrome. Mitochondrial myopathy, it's a kind of a mitochondrial enzyme deficiency. Mitochondrial matrix, as we talk about the mitochondrial enzyme, then the matrix contain the mitochondrial enzyme. When we deficit in the mitochondrial enzyme, the mitochondrial myopathy is to be done. So this is all about the mitochondria and the history of the mitochondria. So bye-bye, students. Please be prepared for the next NEET and the CUT entrance exam. Goodbye.